Welcome back to Wookies on X-Wing. I'm Jon.
And I'm Matt.
And we are returning to the Round 3 game of our Atlantic Canada Regionals 2016, hosted by MetaGameZ, run by yours truly, with Matt's help of course, and today we have two Imperial fighters, well, squadrons I should say, facing off against each other with a giant rock asteroid placement. What do we got, Matt, for one of these squadrons?
Well, we have Craig Tucker. He is running Wampa with two Academy pilots as his TIE fighters, and then Commander Kenkirk in his Decimator, with Emperor Palpatine and Isard as crewmen, with anti-pursuit lasers and the Predator EPT. Now, Commander Kenkirk is whenever you have at least one damage card assigned to you and no shields, you increase your agility value by 1. So suddenly your Decimator actually has agility dice.
Which is terrifying.
Combined with Ysanne of same triggers, damage card assigned and no shields. At the start of the combat phase, you may perform a free evade action. And then Emperor Palpatine in there to modify your 1 evasion dice. That suddenly becomes a fairly durable Decimator.
And if you're not firing at the Decimator, then Wampa can be modified with Emperor Palpatine for that nice synergy that we love to see.
And then you've got your Academy pilot blockers. I like the look of this fleet. I'm really intrigued to see how it'll play.
I'm a big fan of the ubiquitous TIE fighter, even as Academy pilots. I'm a big fan of them, so I'm very interested to see this style of list. Not a list that I have yet to see, so I'm super excited for it. Now, Peter Smith, we've seen him in the Wave 1 game, or Round 1 game I should say. He is running, of course, the Inquisitor in his TIE Advanced prototype with Push the Limit, Proton rockets, and the TIE V1 title, and of course Autothruster modification. Countess Ryad has the TIE X7 title, and Lone Wolf. Now, for those of you who watched last week, you might know this about Lone Wolf, but for those who don't, when attacking or defending, if there are no other friendly ships at range 1 or 2, you may reroll one of your blank results. A lot of our commenters made sure that one of the players wasn't...
He was rerolling focuses.
He was rerolling focuses, so that's something that you guys need to keep an eye on, and we're definitely going to keep an eye on for it as well. As for the last fighter there, Soontir Fel, of course, in his TIE Interceptor, has the Push the Limit EPT and Autothrusters. Very light Soontir Fel, not something that we're used to seeing here on Wookies on X-Wing. We're used to seeing him with the Royal Guard title as well as a stealth device. But I'm happy to see a lighter Soontir Fel, and red goes faster, so that's always good too. And we're going to have some placement. It looks like Craig has the very, very Imperial triple triangle echelon deployment for his TIE fighters, and then running along that is the Decimator, looking to get in the scrum. Nice lanes of traffic there, avoiding some of the big rocks.
Yeah, there's a nice open flight lane between the largest cluster of all three of those, or all those large asteroids, and then the one lone one sitting down in the corner. It looks like, alright, so we have the Academy pilots. Does not want to go straight at the Countess here. Looks like it want to play to the TIE fighters' pretty decent maneuverability and mix it up in that asteroid field. Get some lanes blocked here, maybe force an ace onto an asteroid, or force the ace to get shots through it. Really set up for Wampa to, well, do what he does best, especially with Emperor Palpatine on the table.
Yes, Countess Ryad is an excellent jouster, not something these TIE fighters want to go up against, especially with their lower pilot skill. It means that the Countess can zoom forward, get that beautiful evade token due to the title, the X7 title, and it doesn't matter if you block or not. As soon as you do that 3 or faster maneuver, you get that free token. Now, when it comes to these other two fighters, yes, of course, they have the pilot skill advantage on them as well, but if they so happen to block, those fighters are incredibly squishy in comparison to something like the TIE Defender.
Yeah.
And all it needs is one solid shot from the Decimator to put one of these things into the ground. And Predator, the nice EPT that allows you to re-roll, you might only get a 1 re-roll because they're not low enough pilot skill, but it's still a re-roll.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's nice. And I like the Decimator leading on here, the hammer to follow up the TIE, or to lead in for the TIE fighters. Just a nice sharp turn. Really said, oh, you know what? I'm gonna leave the Countess alone for now. she's actually the hardest fighter here to kill, so we're just gonna let her alone, let her do her thing.
Yeah. And it looks like the camera had gotten nudged in between the rounds, so we can't exactly see Sunterfell, but I have a feeling that he is going to get in the thick of things soon, so need not worry.
No, he should be coming up. And it's a strange thing to say when you have a defender that of all your ships on the board is the hardest to kill. But especially where there's no Palpatine for Peter here, and Sunter does not have a stealth device, they're all the 3 defense dice each. It's just the defender has twice the health of Sunter and half again as much as the Inquisitor. So she's gonna be a hard nut to crack.
Yeah. The other thing is that with Wampa in the fray, as soon as Wampa gets a shot on the Inquisitor, or a couple shots on the Inquisitor, that could be a dead Inquisitor. So Peter has to really play intelligently in order to not only stay out of the primary firing arc of the Decimator, but he also wants to stay out of the firing arc of Wampa as well. Now, when it comes to basic TIE fighters, they're not as scary because they don't have the action economy and the firepower to cut through the 3 defense dice with Autothrusters trigger, depending on what the range is. And of course, tokens. Tokens are a big thing. Action economy. Push the limit. Beautiful. I love it.
But yeah, with Wampa there, as long as he gets 2 turns of shooting, he'll completely bypass the Inquisitor shields. There's 2 face down damage cards assigned, and that's a dead Inquisitor.
Yes. All right, back to dials, and it looks like we are going to see some TIE fighters probably zooming in, getting into a really good spot in order to block these fighters. Now, this is interesting. Depending on what the Decimator does, he might actually be blocking his own Decimator. And it's a kind of a cheeky way of doing a, zero maneuver in a Decimator, but it's not a terrible idea either.
Alright, so had a little bit of a bump there. Ended up, both players agreed to approximate the original position and just do a re-maneuver. And it looks like he ends up in about this. It looks like he ends up in about the same spot there.
Yeah.
Nice show of sportsmanship. It's really good to see that. It's definitely appreciated for both players. And here's the other Academy just zooming it forward.
Yeah, he's in the perfect spot in between those rocks. Doesn't want to stray too far more forward. He doesn't want to do the barrel roll. He wants to keep those actions because the Inquisitor is a powerful, powerful threat.
Absolutely.
As soon as he locks onto you, he gets to fire as if he's within range 1. And when it comes to TIE fighters, that's kind of sad.
Yeah. All right. So there's Wampa getting himself nice settled in the back there. And we've got the Countess just burning it forward.
Well, now that the Countess is safe, she can just do that. You're probably next turn we're going to see a very hard turn, the 3 turn that is going to give her that evade token, but that's going to be next turn. As for, I'm just trying to figure out his actions.
Yeah. I would not be surprised actually to see a barrel roll to get a little closer into the action.
I would see that too.
Especially since the Decimator has yet to move, and barrel rolling should not place you within its range.
No. So here we go. Here's a barrel roll. Looks like he's still playing it safe.
Yeah. That very well worn 1 maneuver template that we saw from round 1.
Yes.
All right, and there is her evade token from the maneuver. And the Decimator just moseying forward, putting the brakes on behind that Academy pilot. And with the Decimator, this particular setup, especially with Palpatine and Predator, the actions are, well, they're a luxury, they're a nice thing to have, but definitely not a requirement.
So here we have something that we've seen from Peter early on in the tournament, which is his just sheer determination to not get shots fired at him. Yeah. So I foresee a barrel roll and a boost, or just a boost.
So there's the boost that will clear the arc of both Wampa and the Academy, and that definitely makes sense. Peter, he does not want Wampa shooting at the Inquisitor.
Oh, not at all. I mean, you can take some shots from the Decimator, and that's just due to the fact that he has Autothrusters, allowing him to change one of his blanks to an evade result. And it looks like he's going to be at range 3 as well. So, 4 dice, chances are you're probably going to make that, especially since the Decimator doesn't have any actions as to speak of right now.
Yeah, and there is the barrel roll, just getting getting some distance between himself and the other fighters.
Just getting as tight as he possibly can to that asteroid, just so that he doesn't have to. Yeah, it gives himself a lot of leeway in the future turns. The Inquisitor, as we know, amazing turn fighter, but doesn't have a lot of green maneuvers when it comes to the other banks and turns. He has to go straight for that, and he's giving himself definitely a lot of room to play around with that. If he wants to do a one hard maneuver and then barrel roll back into a similar position to where he was before, that's great. And top of the map, we can barely see the base here. Sunterfell turning in. Now,
He's right in the teeth of the enemy fleet here.
yeah, he does not want to be there. I'm not sure where he's going to go, to be completely honest. Knowing Peter, he's probably going to try to evade, do a barrel roll, boost, and then obviously get the focus due to being stressed and being Sunterfell. When you're Sunterfell, you just get focus because, you know, that's the thing.
Honestly, at this point, yeah, it's really hard to say. It may be a good idea to just focus, push the evade, so you're double focused as well, and just try to tank it. You're likely going to take one guaranteed damage from Wampa. I really don't see him getting away from Wampa this turn.
No. He'd have to completely clear out of the firing arc and fire range, and that just doesn't seem feasible given where he has had to deploy.
Yeah, so we definitely should play... Oh, he may have cleared it there. Well, we'll see. That's gonna be a close one, but I would assume that you play it expecting Suntir to take at least 1 point of damage.
So it looks like he's firing with Suntir.
So he is definitely going to be in range there. A small bump.
Yeah.
Yep, there we go. Just a nice realignment.
And of course, Sunterfell can choose who he wants to fire at, so he's checking his range before moving on to the future.
All right, and just seeing if he can reach out and touch the Decimator. Actually has a pretty decent, well, it being a Decimator, he's got a pretty decent chance of actually putting some hurt on it.
Yeah, these TIE fighters are definitely, they're so dodgy, and with Sunterfell, one of the things that my biggest complaint about him is that he has a hard time landing hits.
Yeah, and the interesting thing with Craig's Decimator setup here is you want to kill it in a couple turns. You really don't want to pick away at it. It looks like he went for a TIE fighter there.
Yeah, with one potential that was not going to land.
No, but with Commander Kenkirk, Isard, once that thing gets damaged.
Oh, that's a good roll from its attack.
Oh.
And Suntir just Autothrusters, yes, but oof.
And an evade, so it still takes a crit to the face.
And that is not something that he wants to see, just because. All right, let's see what crit. Shaken Pilot.
All right, so during the next planning phase, cannot be assigned straight maneuvers.
Not terrible for Suntir, just given his dial. Not the greatest thing ever.
No.
With Wampa now firing, doesn't really matter what he's going to get a crit in there.
All right, so he spends his focus. And we roll. And there is Autothrusters.
And then Wampa's trigger.
Wampa triggers anyway.
That's the beautiful thing about Wampa is if the defense dice is not in your opponent's favor, you can just keep that roll. But, you know, if they would natively negate it, then you can hand out that damage card.
Yeah, and we got the other academies just attacking into him, trying to get the damage through. And range 4, Autothrusters.
Rock.
No.
That's not happening. Get out of here, TIE Fighter. You're drunk.
Good effort, but not really going to get anywhere with that. However, Sunterfell is not in a good spot. And so this is a ballsy move. Now, is this going to be a K turn?
It's a 5 maneuver, so I do not think so. The TIE Fighter has 3 and 4
3
K
and 4
turns.
is only. Yes, that's right. It's the Interceptor I'm thinking of.
Yeah, and the TIE Bomber.
Yeah. And so here we go, just blasting forward. Does he take a damage? No, that's a focus. Would have been a shame to waste Palpatine this early.
No, but that's the beautiful thing about Palpatine is you can do that.
If you need to, yes. And so here, the other academy, nice 3 turn.
Looks like Suntir is going to be in a kill box this round. Not where he wants to be this early in the game.
No, and as long as Craig can line up that Wampa shot, he will kill Suntir. So it is going to be a matter of positioning. Very closely skirting that asteroid. A very nice kill box setup here.
Can't say I called it, but I called it.
And there's the Countess, the maneuver we expected. Get the put the guns of the defender to use and start getting some damage points in.
Yeah, it's not predictable when it's the best possible choice.
All right, and let's see. So he gets his evade token from the maneuver speed. And let's see what action.
I think he's trying to figure out whether the Countess wants to barrel roll into the perfect position or just stay there and hope to get some shots, depending on where the Decimator's going to go. Knowing the Decimator's dial can't go that far.
No, can't go that far and is probably going to get fetched up, or was possibly going to get fetched up on the back of Wampa here anyway.
So I would, oh, he's firing a target lock on Wampa. That's really interesting.
Wants to put the threat in on Wampa.
Yeah, I thought he would be starting to deal in the damage on the Decimator just because of how many points are synced into that thing. And just how, well, I guess it makes sense from the perspective that the Decimator has a lot of defensive capabilities, so if you start to pick at it way too late, you have to either focus it down or you have to, you know what I mean? You have to focus it down or you have to focus on other things. If you pick at it, then it'll get its defensive buffs, and then it's going to be very frustrating to kill.
Yeah, and so just laying on the gas, a 4 forward, and actually clears Wampa, but runs into the back of the Academy pilot. And that is definitely not the maneuver expected out of the Inquisitor.
It's the safe play that we're come to expect from Peter, given that this is his second game. I was also expecting a one hard turn towards the asteroid, then a barrel roll. It would put him in a really nice spot to deal with Wampa.
Absolutely.
But this is... He wasn't sure where Wampa was going to go. So, knowing Peter, that was almost a predictable maneuver here.
All right, and just checking range for a target lock. Possibly just get that target lock out now so that in later turns he doesn't have to worry about it. Definitely. Though we do have some... Peter is debating his best course of action here.
Yeah, it's tricky because with that turret there, he doesn't want to get too close because, yeah, he has Autothrusters. It's still a turret and it's still doing a lot of damage outward.
And if he's not using... if Craig is not using Palpatine for Wampa, then that's Predator and Palpatine on that Decimator's turret, which eventually it could just overwhelm the Inquisitor's defenses here.
See, I would try to barrel roll here with the Inquisitor, just because you don't have... I mean, I guess it makes sense that he's not stressing himself out, so he can do like a 3 hard turn. But...
And that 5 forward put that Academy pilot in just a beautiful spot to, well, really fetch up Soontir with that loose stabilizer. Couldn't clear him with the banked 2.
Oh yeah, Soontir is in a terrible spot right now. He has no actions, he's already damaged heavily, 1 hull left, Wampa's just going to kill him.
Oh, absolutely.
Even if he had actions, Wampa's going to kill him this round.
Yeah, and so there is checking the range for the Countess into the back of the Decimator. And so it looks like she is going to... Oh, and here we are, so checking range.
Well, Soontir can't fire at anything.
So
right now.
we've got the commander. And it looks like... Alright, so there is Predator. 1 potential. And that is a dead Soontir.
Not the way that I was expecting him to go out, to be completely honest, but...
Well, it saves Palpatine for defensive action, for defensive use here.
Absolutely true.
Alright, and it looks like the Countess wants to fire at Wampa here, just checking to see if that's through an asteroid. Let loose. Does she want to blow her target lock? Now, she is not focused. If she was, I would definitely say go for it, but...
Looks like that's a no.
That is a no, so keeping the target lock on for later. And it is a safe move. With a range 3, possibly through an asteroid, you don't really want to just be rolling the target locks.
I agree with his decision not to spend the target lock. However, it didn't look like he had very much actions on Wampa, so...
Yeah.
But, to be fair, Palpatine's not in play.
Palpatine's not in play, and he did have the evade token, so... And there is the Academy pilot who so gracefully flew over the asteroid last turn is getting K-turned. Looks like both of them are. Get themselves reoriented this turn so that they can green maneuver into position to head off Peter's fighters here.
Looks like Wampa's going to do the exact same thing. It's really nice when you have your TIE fighters disengage in a way that they can all swarm back together.
Absolutely.
As for the Decimator with the cloaking device,
it kind of just has to get itself turned around,
yeah,
by its own engines. It's not, you can't K-turn that thing.
that would be amazing if you could.
I would be intrigued actually to see that, even happen. But so here we have the Countess just blasting forward. Nice position, keep the asteroid between herself and the main body of the enemy fighters. Gets her in a nice spot for next turn. She should be able to get some shots out, but again, Wampa is really not something you want to go head-to-head with unless you know you can kill him.
Yeah. And try as Peter might, Wampa is still fresh, no damage taken. It's going to be really tough for the Countess, just given the fact that his ability bypasses her shields.
But she is focused, and she is target locked on Wampa, so should she want to, she could unload into him fairly heavily here.
I think Wampa needs to die.
Oh, absolutely. And he is not actioned. And we have the Inquisitor coming up. We should see a boost here. I would think to do otherwise would not be... To me, that wouldn't be the right play. You want to get the Inquisitor as close to the action as possible, or in the action as soon as possible.
Which is why I'm a little confused, because originally I said, you should barrel roll, but oh yeah, you could not barrel roll in order to do like a 3 hard maneuver. He did not take that opportunity, and he just did the green maneuver anyway. So...
Well, it looks like he has opted to essentially pass action on the Inquisitor. Definitely still playing cagey, does not want to get too committed yet. So here we have the Commander into the Countess, and oh, that is just unfortunate.
And the Lone Wolf reroll did not do anything.
Nope, so burn the evade token, lose 2 shields off of the Countess. Not not a very good defense roll there, that's unfortunate. And so checking the Countess line of sight into, should be Wampa here. Definitely, we have Craig picking up. Oh, it's range 3.
Range 3 through a rock. Do you really want to fire at Wampa? Because I got all of these dice, and...
Yeah, that suddenly is not as appealing a prospect. Alright, let's see.
It's a hard decision, I have to say.
Definitely. It may be a good idea to... try to get half VP off the Commander.
Well, the thing is that once Wampa is gone, the Inquisitor can engage and literally stay on his butt the entire time. Stay on Kenkirk's butt the entire time. Autothrusters, evade it up with the target lock, constant damage, range 1 versus range 3, whatever. It doesn't really matter because its turret is outside of the main firing arc, and the Inquisitor can
should just be able to push through this, yeah.
But not when Wampa's there, because Wampa will kill the Inquisitor.
Yeah.
It took some actions in order to save him, but...
Alright, and here we go. So we have Wampa getting the shots out.
Two potentials from
Wampa, so let's see. Oh, So nothing. The Countess does not take any damage, so that's very nice. Looks like he had to use Palpatine on the Decimator's defense. And we got our Academy moving up very sedately, get rid of his stress, focus up, and get himself in a nice spot to catch the Countess once she comes around that asteroid.
Yeah, it's a little tricky because Wampa is not in a super good spot right now.
No, he's going to have to move pretty quickly to clear the Decimator. But that also, it gets him in a not a too bad spot to either block, well, in this case, if he can clear this, to block the Countess's potential landing spots.
Yeah.
Or to just get behind her where she might not be able to shoot him. So we have our proxy the Decimator to ensure that Wampa is accurately maneuvered. Because it looked like the commander ran into him, he should have enough distance to clear him.
It's going to be hard, just depending on where exactly on the base he was.
Absolutely. It looks like he is golden. A nice little sliver of space there. Again, taking the evade action. Craig knows just how important Wampa is to his fleet. He wants to keep him alive.
What I'm actually really surprised about is how effective Craig has been able to play his Academy pilots. Those Academy pilots haven't suffered a scratch. They aren't the big threat, so they're not being chased after, and he's not presenting them in a way that makes them opportunity attacks, which is what a lot of TIE fighter pilots tend to get in the trap of. Is, oh, it's just a TIE fighter, nobody's really going to fire at it. Oh, it's the only target. Boom, I lost a TIE fighter. I'm down 12 points.
Yeah.
But the way that he's protecting his escort with his main ship, but he's also protecting his main ship with his escort.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting, very strategic way of playing, and it's served him well so far.
And we saw the Countess there doing a 5 forward, just hard burning it up. Peter possibly foreseeing Craig trying to block him, not wanting to just drift lazily forward or risk a 4K turn. And so the Countess gets her evade token, she is focused up, and we have the Inquisitor swinging into position here. He is in a good spot. He's out of Wampa's firing arc, by the looks of it there. You'll be able to shoot him quite nicely, and the only shots he could take are the commander through an asteroid, if he's in range, and that's about it.
Well, the thing is that now it's unfortunate that our camera has been bumped, so we can't actually see which direction the Countess is flying. But she could be in. She could have used that 5-4 to do a 5K maneuver, given
That's
the Countess's
true, yeah.
ability. So she might actually have shots, and it would be very smart for him to do that because of where all of the other ships are placed. So I think we're going to see some shots from the Countess, and given where that TIE fighter is, it could be a dead TIE fighter. That's
quite possibly. May have Wampa in a very nice pincer here, and we'll see once it comes to attack dice, and just deciding on what kind of actions the Inquisitor wants to do.
All the actions.
He's going to target lock Wampa to get his evade, focus for his push, and let loose.
Yeah, that V1 title is absolutely beautiful.
And spend the focus. And so there is Palpatine and an evade. So no damage taken from the Inquisitor. However, if the Countess has turned around, that will be a 4 attack dice. So let's see. We have the commander going in on her. Thankfully at range 2. Did not quite get into range 1. That is 2 crits and a hit. So definitely not ideal.
Especially since the Countess only has 1 shield left on her ship.
Yep. And there is the Lone Wolf. Now she should have an evade token. It's just, does she want to spend... She's likely focused, so does she want to spend her focus here? Or save it?
The way that Peter has played in the past, very defensive, try not to take any hits. I would go for that. However, that has in our previous game we've seen him go to time because of that, and he's already down a ship.
Oh, no, it looks like he is not. So, that is a hit taken. There's just her free evade token spent. And here we have shots back.
Now it's
So, she did do that 5k turn and leverage her pile ability. And there's Lone Wolf triggering. There's a focus spent, and that is beautiful. And oh no!
that is
Cheeky!
dirty.
Oh!
So all of that
For
perfect setup.
for a crit. Still get damage through.
Still get damage through, but not nearly what you were hoping for. That could have been a dead Wampa, and now that Wampa is still alive, that means that there's an incredible threat to Peter's list, still in the game, something that he has to deal with, he has to spend even more turns dealing with, and on top of that, he has 2 TIE fighters. They're just Joe Schmo, but they're still able to do damage, potentially.
Absolutely. Now that the Countess is down to... oh, nice, a Lone Wolf saving her from a crit. Is down to her hull. Those crits actually will start to matter. And that final Academy pilot is out of range. So, beautifully set up by Peter there. A nice pincer. Just couldn't... He was denied the kill on Wampa.
Yeah, you can't argue with a really amazing dice roll, and that was just one of those things.
And here we have an Academy. Nice 3-turn around that asteroid. Setting up to try to catch the Inquisitor here. I mean, I wish you best of luck. That's a devilishly hard proposition.
Yeah.
And we've got the other Academy. See which way. So he is banking to his left around that asteroid. Doesn't want to feed the Inquisitor a free kill here.
No, I was not expecting him to do that, but I was expecting him to go the other way and create more of a net. But that does separate your squadron quite a bit, and with Countess Ryad still kicking around, you got to be able to box her in as well.
And that does put that Academy in a nice spot to head off potential turning points for the Countess. Yeah, and Wampa getting out of dodge. He does not want to be in her sights anymore.
No. Yeah, the TIE Defender, while is amazing, as we said before, amazing at going straight, amazing at doing K-turns, especially Countess, with her ability to just, any straight maneuver becomes a K-turn. 1 and 2 hard turns are red, and yeah, 3 is white. So you don't want to do 90 degree turns with her very often.
Not at all.
Especially not short turns.
And so there is just a 1 bank, as slow a maneuver as is possible for the defender. And she still has her target lock on Wampa. She was not forced to spend it last turn. Now let's see what actions she is going to take.
I would be very surprised if she doesn't do a focus here, just because still getting shot at, still needs those actions for defense.
Yeah, she will not be able to shoot in her current position, unfortunately. So it's a...
And the other thing is that because she only went one maneuver, she doesn't get that evade token, so that really hurts her defensibility.
And it looks like Peter has bucked our assumption. He has opted to play aggressively and barrel roll into range 1 of the back of that Academy pilot there. Now he does put himself very firmly in range 1 of the other Academy, so let's see if this gamble pays off.
And here we have the commander moseying on, as the dump truck wants to do.
A nice turn, just get himself turned around, reoriented, and facing into Peter's fighters here. And let's see. Okay, so the Inquisitor, he is doing a 1 bank.
So this is going to put him in a very difficult spot, because the only opportunity attacks that he can go for is the commander, and right now he doesn't have the amount of firepower to deal with him.
No, no, you can definitely put a kicking into him. There's going to be no possibility of defense dice from the Inquisitor. So whatever damage he rolls, he gets. But he is currently in range 1 of the academy that the Countess is staring at. So that's not a good spot for him.
No, not a good spot at all. I'd probably acquire a target lock to get that evade token and just that be it. Range 1 from a TIE fighter is not really the greatest thing ever, especially when you have already. You haven't taken any damage, you haven't taken any shields, so that's not that big of a problem. But the Inquisitor doesn't have any kind of shields or hull to soak up.
Not so much, no. The Countess could force the Academy to blow its focus, which would be nice. But unless you can really threaten Palpatine's use here. So it looks like he has opted the target lock to get his evade. And he should... And he's just opening up. Yeah. So no push. Deciding, does he want to use the lock to force the damage?
I think he should, just because the Inquisitor wants to acquire a target lock every round, just to get that evade token.
Might as well. So no benefit, but you didn't lose anything. So 2 damage through onto the Decimator. And the commander will be firing back. And that is range 3. That should be range 3.
Might not be. Closest point to closest point might actually still be in range 2.
But he is out of the primary firing arc.
That is correct. So he will get his Autothrusters trigger, which is something he desperately wants.
Yeah. And it looks like... So 3, that is only range... Just squeaked into range 2 there. Spent his focus to get the 2 hits and a crit. And, not... With the Inquisitor, you don't actually want to see focus results.
No.
So he takes a point.
Not when you're not focused.
No. Takes a shield there. And we have the Countess just unloading into the back, and there is... not focused. Spends his to take a... and spends Palpatine, so no damage. Well, it did force a Palpatine use, which is nice, but...
Well, Palpatine...
It didn't need it with that one.
Yeah,
but...
that's right.
And that is a dead Countess.
Plinked away by TIE fighters. That is not a noble fate.
The humanity killed by an Academy pilot.
With a console fire in there for good measure.
So that is not... definitely not ideal. And here we have the Academy firing at the Inquisitor and taking his other shield. So the Inquisitor is definitely sweating bullets now.
Yeah, being the last man on the table, at this point, Craig is actually at a really good place to go 200-0.
He could potentially.
Provided he doesn't take that much more damage on the Decimator, and he deals with this Inquisitor of Peter's, he could actually pull that off, which is very impressive considering he has Academy pilots in his squadron.
Yeah, it's just it's a bit of a shame that Wampa has ended up so far out of position, but he kind of had to keep him safe from the Countess and from the Inquisitor. And we have a sharp turn into the back of the Inquisitor here.
A lot of swarms rely on the ability to, if you start focusing, start putting away on one of the ships, disengage that ship and start drawing attention with the other ships.
Just recycle,
yeah. Exactly. That way, it's almost like a phalanx in the sense that your strong guys, your tough guys are fresh, and the guys that have taken any kind of wounds are cycled to the back so they can recover.
Yeah, and so we have a 3K from the other Academy getting nicely reoriented. And now it is always a tricky proposition to try and catch the Inquisitor, as we've seen. But Craig's fleet is in a remarkably good position to actually have a chance of pulling that off. And Wampa gonna try to get himself re-engaged as quickly as possible, I imagine.
It's going to take him some time to do that. I'm very curious what the Decimator's going to do. Looks like he's just going to ram down the Inquisitor's throat.
Yeah, I'm coming for you. I do. I talked to Craig a little bit about his Decimator, and I was really impressed by it just because of it really plays into the new MOV of okay, so it can lose its shields, and then it triggers its defensive tech before it gets to the point where it's actually conceding half value.
Yeah.
So it gets to that hard to kill position before it's actually given up any points. And it's a nice way to play to the victory conditions.
On top of which, it's a really nice way for the Emperor to fly in style.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, the shuttle is nice and relaxing, but there's something to be said about a Decimator.
And here we have the Inquisitor just burning around. He does not want to be anywhere near this. Get himself into out of the primary fire arc of the Decimator, so he is guaranteed his Autothrusters trigger.
I would still probably boost and then target lock for the evade token, just because it's really close to range 1. I don't know if he's in or out of it, but if he boosts, he's able to try to get out of the arc of that TIE fighter, or at least put that rock in between. So let's see what he's going to do.
Absolutely. Well, there's the target lock for the evade. Just checking, so that is uncomfortably close to range 1. We have our push to boost. Not surprising there. A good play. And that will be definitely range 2 for the Decimator now. And it looks like he may have squeaked into 3 from the Academy, but we'll see. So here is the Commander getting his Predator trigger. Spending the focus.
Now, I believe there was a bit of a misplay in the sense that you can only check your fire range once it's that ship's turn. But I believe they're trying to speed things up over the course of the game. So while you're already measuring range,
yeah, you know that it will let the Inquisitor player spend his tokens a little more wisely, but that Academy pilot, it didn't really stand a chance of landing anything there.
Yeah.
That was 5 defense dice. And the Inquisitor, he squeaks out no damage from the Commander here.
oh, a really, really tight turn.
A nice bank, getting around the asteroid. Little reorientation there, but very nicely maneuvering around it.
There's something I always love when TIE fighters just squeak past asteroids. It just makes me happy. I don't know why. Maybe Empire Strikes Back is,
I was going to say, it must be Empire Strikes Back.
has completely destroyed my hope for TIE fighters flying through rocks.
And this Academy opting to stay stressed. He's in no danger. In basically no danger of getting shot at, so doesn't really need his action this turn. And that one hard turn gets him in a much better spot.
Yeah, the Inquisitor at this point is just singing Man on the Run.
Yeah. And Wampa, again, just turning around, getting himself reoriented. Because he is the bullet with the Inquisitor's name on it.
Yeah.
If he can get it...
The cruise missile with the Inquisitor's name on it.
Yeah, if he can get 2 turns of shooting at him, the Inquisitor is dead. But let's see where... I'm curious where Peter will opt to fly. He will be somewhat limited with the stress that the Inquisitor has on him.
I don't know if Peter is going to try to re-engage and at least kill something, or if he's just going to try to be as dodgy as he possibly can be.
Well, we'll see. A nice, just a lazy drift forward from the Decimator there. Take a focus action. Oh, so there is the 1 turn.
So he's gonna wants to start playing chicken with that Wampa.
And that's he's got to be really careful here. If he boosts, he might put himself into Wampa's range. If he doesn't, he's gonna have to barrel roll to get out of range 1 of that Academy that's staring at him.
I think barrel roll is probably the safest option.
Yeah, and it really comes down to now of you have to be really careful of pushing the limit. You don't want to lock yourself into green maneuvers.
To be fair, if he can get 1 solid round of shooting onto Wampa, he might be able to do 1 point of damage.
Yeah.
Because of the Inquisitor, sorry, not the Inquisitor, because of Emperor Palpatine and that evade token he has there. He has to do he has to roll his 3 attack dice, he has to get hits on all of them, and then he has to roll 3 blanks.
And Craig has to roll 3 blanks.
That's not, the odds are not in his favor.
That is not ideal odds. But let's see what the Inquisitor's action is going to be. I don't know about you, I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm really curious what he's going to do with this.
Yeah, I can't.
These asteroids have really, they've definitely put their use, shown their use though.
They definitely dictated the way the game was played. They made it very difficult for Peter, and I think probably one of the things was that Craig was able to adapt immediately to the rock placement. He had a plan going in. Peter looked like he was reactionary to the deployment of his opponent, which is quite standard often with aces, and he went for a denied flank. However, his denied flank is not really good at jousting, and as soon as Craig went for it, he had to break, and he didn't break hard enough and lost Sunter, and of course now we just have the Inquisitor here, and I don't know what he's going to do.
No, I am really curious. Let's see what happens. He may opt to focus or evade here and just keep powering shots into the Decimator. No, so he will barrel roll, like we were saying, get out of range 1 of the Academy.
Yeah, it's smart. It's a smart play. Don't take any shots you don't need to take.
And he may... Ooh, this is going to be close. He may have actually cleared the fire arc of the Academy.
It looks that way.
That is a very distinct possibility.
And he didn't get too much closer to Wampa.
Not there. He's definitely not there. But Peter trying to see if he's going to be able to keep a firing arc of his own onto anyone.
Well,
I think he will.
He's gotten out of... Hello.
Hello, shoulder.
He's gotten out of range 1 of the TIE Fighter. And that it might be enough for him.
That's definitely the primary goal of that maneuver. So there will be some heated measurement. We'll just have to imagine it.
Yeah.
Here it is. All right. So let's see if the Inquisitor will have a shot. I do have to point out there, I really like Craig's repaint here of the Decimator. That was what I was really impressed about with regionals is a lot of people had custom paint jobs, especially for their large ships. You know, we saw a couple fighters redone, but just the level of ingenuity and creativity put into these large ship repaints was really nice to see.
Well, it's definitely a nice way to show what's yours.
Absolutely, yeah.
Alright, looks like the Inquisitor is not in fire arc of the Decimator, unfortunately.
And he is not quite close enough to that stressed Academy. And so here we have, the Commander. This is a range 3. So 4 defense dice with Autothrusters. Spend the focus. Nope, spend possibly Palpatine there. Yes, opted to spend Palpatine. And 4 defense dice rolled natively.
Where have those rolls been for Peter all game?
The Inquisitor says no.
Yeah, the Inquisitor is getting the rolls that he wants, but honestly, Peter's needed to roll like that on the Countess more than anything else.
And it looks like that asteroid-hugging Academy was not in fire arc. And this is a nicely maneuvered here. There it is. I would not be surprised for barrel roll to shift that fire arc over a little more. Do you have a pretty good idea of where the Inquisitor could end up?
Yeah. Unfortunately, if the Inquisitor decides to do a one turn, then that TIE Fighter is no longer blocking him. However, the chances of him doing that, I'm not sure.
I would be surprised, but
at this point in time, I think Peter might just say, screw it, I'm going to disengage, and you're going to have to chase me if you really want those MOV points.
And Craig is very definitely setting up a kill box here. He's making no bones about it. I'm coming for you. Your points are mine. And again, keeping Wampa back. Wampa with Palpatine, he's one of those ships that, like the Inquisitor, wants to be at range 3. He doesn't care.
Yeah. I love the Emperor, especially Emperor Palpatine, especially on the Decimator here. It has come up so much, and you just really see how powerful he is. It's like, now you're playing with power, and it's great.
Well, and I enjoy seeing... usually you see Palpatine... Palpatine's ride with a pair of aces.
Yeah.
I like seeing Palpatine's ride actually doing work, and you have... one guy's a named pilot, but he's still kind of a goon. And then you have just
Wampa
2
is a
academies.
goon. Yeah, you definitely have to know how to fly TIE fighters, which is a skill in and of itself. It's not just something you can mosey on by with.
And there is the Decimator just, again, pedal to the metal, 3 hard turn, blasting forward. Possibly trying to fetch up the Inquisitor here. And, interesting choice by Peter.
Zoom, zoom.
Indeed.
Now,
So using the, aligning it to the side of the pegs.
and it looks like he'll be out of arc of Wampa, which is basically the thing that he wants to be out of.
That is what he wants.
An easy boost will get him fully out of arc of, out of range 1 at least of the Decimator.
And it will put him into... Well, it'll put him... Again, it'll keep him should be able to keep him in a nice lane to fire at Wampa here.
These TIE fighters are still devilishly threatening, though.
Oh, absolutely.
One of them does not have an action, which is pretty good for the Inquisitor. The other one does, though.
The other one is focused. And I don't care how evasive you are, you don't want to take a range 1 turret shot from a Decimator.
No.
Especially not one that's focused and has the possibility of the Emperor. So let's see what Peter is going to decide to do. So there is... Yeah, he is electing... He has elected to boost sideways, or boost to the left.
Puts him in a... Maybe... It's hard to tell with the Decimator there, but it looks like he's in a good spot to fire at Wampa.
Oh, yep, he does still have Wampa in his arc. And he may have cleared the closest Academy's arc, but that's going to be a close one.
Yeah. I think he wants to clear out all of the TIE fighters. I don't think he can...
What he doesn't want to do is barrel roll in front of Wampa.
No, he doesn't want to do that. I think he wants to completely negate the possibility of being attacked. And the reason for that is because even if he gets a good shot on Wampa, I mean, whether or not he's within range 1 or range 3 is completely irrelevant for the Inquisitor. And we've seen him at range 3 need to have 3 hits on the dice in order to be able to do any kind of damage to Wampa.
Yeah.
Things haven't changed there. It might look like they've changed because he's like, oh yeah, I'm right on top of him. Well, for the Inquisitor, he doesn't care. So just try to not give up these points, I think, is where Peter's going to go with this now.
And he is barrel rolling to get himself into 2 of the Decimator. And looked like just trying to keep Wampa in arc. Doesn't look like he succeeded, however, and that is a phenomenal roll on for Peter on Craig's part. But, so there's Palpatine spent and a focus. And there's Autothrusters.
For the save.
Doesn't care. And the Inquisitor ended up out of arc of... Looks like out of arc of both of those academies, or Craig just said, you know what, I'm not going to hit you with my range 3 academy. We're just going to skip that for brevity's sake. The lazy 3 over the Decimator. In this academy, he may be able to barrel roll. No, he's not. Oh,
He might be able to. It's hard to say.
Oh yeah, no, he can do it. Good use of it. Clears the corner of the Decimator there. Again, just using those barrel rolls to reposition his potential fire arcs and try to lock down the Inquisitor.
And I'll give Craig credit where credit's due. These TIE fighters have gotten a lot of work done this game.
Oh, absolutely. That Academy pilot is totally getting a promotion when he gets back to base.
Yeah. You now are A pilot skill 3 TIE fighter.
Good job.
Congratulations.
Really liking the 3 maneuvers here. Just flying nice and aggressively. Keeping that fire arc as oriented on the Inquisitor as possible. Really trying to limit his potential landing zones.
I think the Inquisitor is just going to do a 5 forward.
Oh, very likely, yeah.
A 5 forward is going to get him out of dodge.
Wampa doing a 3 turn. Setting himself up for either this turn or next. Possibly trying to head the Inquisitor off. It really depends on what kind of maneuver Peter's going to do with him. Keeping Wampa evaded.
Sorry, not a 5 forward, a 4 forward on the Inquisitor. A 4 forward is a green maneuver for him. 5 forward is a white.
And here we have, so there is the commander. Turning as sharply as the Decimator can.
Has to be careful he doesn't fly off the board.
Oh, absolutely.
I think he has quite a lot of room in order to maneuver, so I'm not too concerned about that.
No, he should be fine. And this is
not what I was expecting at all.
No, a 1 hard turn.
I mean, that is a staple of the TIE Inquisitor, or the TIE Inquisitor. Like, there's any other fighters.
Unfortunately, it's kind of like the original Advanced.
Yeah.
You only fly Vader.
Even though, now Vader has tons of, Vader has tons of pilots that can fly his ship for him when he decides to stay home or decides to be a crewman.
All right, and that is looks like I did not think he could land that maneuver.
And he didn't bump.
That's somewhat impressive.
Small prayers have been answered for Peter here. Proton
that is a
rocket away.
Proton rocket, and
trying to just. Oh man, that is not the role he wants to get.
No,
on those Proton rockets.
Was not. There it is. So he was focused, and we have to Palpatine this so that fighter will survive with 1 health. However, that is 2 crits. There is a weapons failure and a thrust control fire.
Oh, wow. But
no direct hit.
No direct hits, which means that fighter survives. And, Proton rockets, I love them. I know you love them.
I keep forgetting that Peter's Inquisitor has them until he uses them. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. Oh,
yeah, absolutely. Especially since the Inquisitor can target lock and focus, and the focus is not spent in order to use the ability.
You just have to have it on you. And here is shots back. Had to use Palpatine on the defensive to save that Academy. And we've got no damage from the commander and a range 1 Academy. No action, no modification at all. And he just misses. So the Inquisitor, bold maneuver, gets out of it unscathed. Does not quite confirm his kill, however, though. And that Academy pilot is probably thanking his lucky stars and just is going to want to get out of there.
I thought that once he picked up 5 attack dice, I thought he was dead for sure.
Oh, yeah. As you know, coming from one who uses proton rockets, it's generally, I fire them at a TIE fighter. I should kill that TIE fighter.
Yeah. I'm not used to seeing TIE fighters survive a 5 attack dice run. No, not at all.
And yeah, that Academy's like, nope, I don't like this. I'm getting out of here. GTFO my ship. And a 2 turn.
That's going to be a bump, I think.
Possibly.
That should be a bump from the looks of it.
No, he does sneak it out. Very nice. Very close. Gets his action, and here we have Wampa. Interesting maneuver. Possibly barrel roll incoming? Nope, opting to evade. Okay. A lot sharper turn than I anticipated from Wampa. But possibly, again, maybe trying to limit the Inquisitor's landing spots.
Yeah. Inquisitor doesn't have a lot of places he can go. But by not barrel rolling there, he did make it so that the Inquisitor can actually land.
And there is a 4 forward. It's a nice green maneuver. And I bet Peter's wishing he still had his proton rockets now.
Okay. Well, I mean, at the same token, he might fire his proton rockets and the fighter survive.
Yeah, yeah. But if he hits all 5, yeah, with and that looks like
It bumped anyway.
it is a bump.
Surprising.
As frustrating as it is, firing 5 proton rockets and hitting all 5, there's a possibility he could only do 1 damage to Wampa. Unlikely, but possibility.
Yeah.
However, it looked like he bumped. And so here we have... This is Palpatine going out, 2 crits and a hit. And the Inquisitor saying, that's cute. I don't care.
The Inquisitor is just hanging in there. It's really... Now it's down to whether or not the Inquisitor can survive. Can Craig annihilate Peter's squadron, or is Peter going to be able to leave the table with some semblance of pride? And this is where it really comes down to.
And, so he did that. Academy landed and immediately barrel rolls. And I really like how Craig's been flying these. Again, just keeping that fire arc mobile and trying to predict the Inquisitor's landing spots as much as possible.
And he's really motoring and trying to stay very clean with his maneuvers, which is impressive. Being able to do both of those is difficult, especially when your time is of the essence. And
a nice turn by Wampa here. Nice sharp turn inside of that asteroid. And again, the Decimator just throwing the gas on. And that's the nice thing with these big bases. It can work against you, but it can work for you. Just the amount of board you can clear with them when you do these maneuvers. But I will say, one thing I do like that Craig's been doing, some of you may have noticed that black token beside the Decimator. That's an Emperor Palpatine token. It's novel. I haven't actually seen anyone use that before, but it's smart, and it actually looks like it may be a custom token specifically for it. In which case, I kind of want one.
yeah.
And here, that's surprising. That is the Inquisitor doing a K-turn.
I was not expecting that at all.
No, sir.
I guess he really wants to put himself on the board.
Wants to get some damage in, and probably should be possibly shooting at Wampa here.
I think it's because this is the last turn.
There is 2 potentials. As we know, 2 damage is not going to get you anywhere with a evaded Wampa with Palpatine. And here is the commander shooting. And that Decimator's been phenomenally accurate this entire game.
And here we go.
4 defense.
Wow, nice.
Inquisitor wants to live.
Can Craig put the Inquisitor down? Or is the Inquisitor going to fight to live another day? We're going to find out here in a second.
Well, this is a range 3 from an unmodifiable... Oh, no. So there's Palpatine into a crit. Let's see. Oh, and there is
One
Autothrusters. And it's a crit, but that's not a direct hit.
And that's game.
So did not manage to clinch the final kill with the last shot, but came really, really close.
So that's the second game that we got to see with Peter's squadron. Still a big fan of how he's built his squadron, especially that TIE Interceptor, the Sunter Fell. Not as durable as we're used to seeing, and I'd like to have seen him more. However, Craig just came up on him super fast, was able to deal with him. And
so he chose his targets well, and as you need to with a swarm, Craig he cycled through his small fighters without actually letting any of them die.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Decimator. We don't see that many Decimators all too often anymore, obviously because there was a huge meta shift, and then on top of that we had the change to big ships and the MOV. But even then, we didn't see a lot of Commander Kenkirk. Now we do, and now we have seen him, and I am a really big fan.
I like this very durable, almost Fat Han reminiscent
Yeah.
Decimator here. And like I said earlier, I really like that it starts using its defensive tech before it's conceding any points.
On top of which, one of the things that I don't think ever came up in this game was the the anti-pursuit lasers, which means that
You don't want to bump it.
he might not be Oiken, but you still don't want to bump him. And the Academy pilots are just, they got work done. I was very impressed with Craig's ability to just use those Academy pilots as blockers and as damage dealers, and just how effective they were at both of those tasks. Usually you can do one or the other. He seemed to just focus in on both. I really enjoyed this game. Peter really deserved to keep that little bit of MOV to himself.
The Inquisitor, he deserved to survive after that.
He could have killed a couple of TIE fighters to put him further up on the board, but that's the way it goes sometimes. That's the way the dice happens.
Well, as always, guys, thanks for watching Wookies on X-Wing. Be sure to like and subscribe. We've got Wookies videos out every Wednesday.
We are part of the Northern Gaming Network. Be sure to check it out at northerngamingnetwork.com, where we have additional content for this game and others.
And if you guys have any comments, you can always leave them on the video below, or if you want to get in touch with us directly, John will let you know how you can do that.
If you want to be my friend on Twitter, you can find me at Corhath, that's Corhath, but you can also find us on Twitter at NorthGameNet, or you can like us on Facebook to keep up with our most recent news.
And we'll see you guys next week.